Some people think the best part of the lobster is the tail, and some think it's the claw. But the best part of the lobster is the part that most people throw out, the shell. And that was confirmed by an old family friend. Heidi is my god sister. She's called my god sister because her mother baptized me. I've known Heidi since I've had memories, and since she moved to the beautiful island of St. John over 20 years ago, she's been asking me to come visit. I decided, what better place to do a video on lobster than a Caribbean island? So last week, Maria and I took a little trip to St. John. Heidi has a family recipe for lobster risotto that is out of this world. As a matter of fact, it's so good, I convinced her to allow me to include it in my list of heirloom family recipes. A link to that playlist is up above and in the description below this video. Heidi and Tim invited us to their beautiful home. We quickly became best buddies with Remy and Gatsby. They took time out of their busy schedule and gave us a personal tour of the island. Not only were we given a locals insider guide, which included breathtaking beaches, amazing sea life, and historic ruins. Heidi shared with us the painful struggle and recovery the residents of St. John experienced after two back-to-back hurricanes, Irma and Maria, devastated the little island in 2017.
Tim and I had never experienced a hurricane since we've lived here. So we had no idea what to expect. And it was, pretty intense, but the house is strong, so we didn't really know what happened outside until afterwards, and we saw that houses were just completely gone. They were just disappeared.
Sustained winds were clocked in at over 210 miles per hour. Heidi introduced me to her friend Carlos, the owner of Morgan's Mango, which is a landmark restaurant in the heart of St. John and has been there since 1993. Not only do Carlos and I share a passion for restaurants, Carlos, like myself, is an avid freediver.
I grew up diving and catching lobsters and spearfishing, and so lobster is a big deal in our restaurant. We're known for the lobster, which we have a special night twice a week. I personally like lobster grilled, cut in half and thrown on the grill, and that's my favorite way to have it, with a little bit of lemon, garlic, and butter. But making a good lobster stock and a great risotto is another amazing way to have it.
We were supposed to go diving for lobsters, but the wind never let up. So instead, Carlos was generous enough to supply us with a couple of 5-pound spiny lobsters for Heidi's soon-to-be famous lobster risotto. Whether you choose Maine lobsters, the ones with the claws, or spiny lobsters, the ones without the claws, as long as they are fresh and not frozen, you will get an amazing stock from the body of the lobster. I usually place the lobsters in boiling water and continue to cook them until the water comes up to a rapid boil again. Unless they are gigantic, the meat should be cooked once a rapid boil is reached. Do not throw out the liquid. Remove the lobsters and harvest the meat from the tail, knuckles, and the claws if they're Maine lobsters. And be sure to keep every little last shell, because from that, we're going to get a delicious and aromatic stock. We were lucky enough to find a bunch of organic celery. And these are the only organic carrots they had, so we used about 2 pounds of baby carrots, 2 whole sweet Spanish onions, and these shallots, 3 small ones, are used in the risotto. Take the celery, carrots, and onions, put them to a stick of butter and saute them till they're lightly browned, then add the shells to the mix. I'm gonna add a tablespoon of black peppercorns, 6 bay leaves, 1 teaspoon of basil, along with a couple of pinches or ½ teaspoon of ground allspice. Deglaze everything with a 1/4 cup of cognac and add a nice, rich, stout beer to this. Take that precious stock that you saved from before. Take some garlic, put it in a food processor with a little bit of oil, and keep it in the fridge because it comes in handy. And to the stock, you're gonna add 3 heaping tablespoons, and then we wait for 2 hours. After about 2 hours, the stock should be reduced to about 2/3 of its original liquid. Take the meat that you saved from the lobster, chop it up into about 1/2-inch cubes. Normally, I boil the shells and spices in cheesecloth, but we didn't have any, so we picked out as much of the vegetables that were left and added them back into the stock. Once you hit the stock with the emulsifier, you'll have a delicious, silky lobster stock. The 3 shallots that we cut up before are added to 4 tablespoons of butter and sauteed. To this, add 2 cups of arborio rice. Stir it into the butter and chive mixture and let it brown nicely. Deglaze the dry risotto with another 1/4 cup of cognac. This is where Heidi and I part ways. I'm trained to add a little bit of stock to the risotto, stir it in, wait for it to get absorbed, and add a little bit more, and continue to do that until the risotto is the proper density that I'm looking for. Heidi seemed to just add it a little more liberally than I would, and it worked. You want the risotto to be al dente, and you still want to have some liquid left in it, so then you can add your chopped lobster to it. You'd be surprised how much of that liquid gets absorbed by the lobster meat. Finish it off with a teaspoon of tarragon leaves, and then add 5 ounces of Borskin garlic and herb cheese to this. Don't use the chive version. For some reason, Borskin uses preservatives in their chive version. Mixing in the garlic and herb cheese will give it a nice, silky, creamy texture and is a good alternative to heavy cream. This is seriously one of the best lobster risottos I've ever had in my life, and if you give this a try, please leave a comment down below. Finally, finish it off with some fresh chopped chives. A good lobster stock can be frozen and turn an ordinary dish into an unforgettable one.
Fabulous? That's really good.
The next day, Heidi and Tim gave us a beautiful tour of the island by boat, where we went to go see the start of a regatta that their son Alex was in. And the cool thing about the team that was on his boat, they had previously participated in the America's Cup. We did some snorkeling here. Unfortunately, this is Jeffrey Epstein's old island, but the snorkeling is amazing. And if you're in these waters, you gotta stop off at Christmas Cove and try pizza from a floating pizza oven. If you're on St. John, make sure you visit Heidi and Tim at the Chelsea drugstore. And if you're looking for a printed copy of this recipe, please visit my website, awarehousechef.com. Thank you in advance for subscribing, sharing, and leaving comments down below. Cheers.